How's it, yo's? It is round number 5 in the GT5 Championship, and yes, it is raining at the Circuit de Barcelona at the Catalunya GP. Make sure you have a wiper button set so you can turn them on and off, because the rain will pass and the sun will come out. Just a quick tip, get out onto the track as soon as you can in that qualifying, because the rain will continue to fall, continue to make the track wet, and your times will just start slowing down. Let me take you on a journey around the circuit for my hot lap here at Catalunya. Okay, so your lap essentially starts as you turn here into turn number 13. Keep as close to the left hand side as possible. You'll see I'll brake nice and early, take a little bit of that curb, and then get that power on straight away. What you want to do is, as you go past the curb on that left hand side, is tighten up, but just remember the water will start pooling during the race, so you're going to want to stay as far away from that curb as you can, but just monitor the situation as you're driving. Okay, so now we're going into turn number 1, looking for the 100 meter mark. Just before 100 meters down into third gear, you can see I take a little bit of that curb, but just stay away from the curb when the race is on, because the corner will be waterlogged. Here we're going into turn number 3, a nice long right-hander. You'll see that I've tightened up. Now I'll start just drifting out to the outside as you go under the bridge down into third gear. Let the car just turn in. Once you get that power back on, it will start tightening up. What I like to do is just stay in the middle of the track, and just as you go past the wall on the left hand side there, brake down. You see, go into second gear, let the front of the car come in, then coming through turn number 6, just tighten up on the inside here for 7. The dark patch in the middle is brake, and then touch again. Try not to take too much of that curb, because it can unsettle you. As you go past the curb here, there's a dark patch there, so you see a late entry into this turn number 9. Just keep the power on. You can touch that outside curb, but if you go into the green, don't panic, just let the car straighten up. Just after 100 meter mark, down on the brakes, down into second, you'll see first let the nose come back in, straight back on that power. Now we want to just stay as close as the curb on 11, now into 12, just off the power, let the nose rotate back on the power. Just careful of going too wide on that curb here. 50 meter mark, turn in, down into second, back into the middle of the track. As you hit that dark patch, down back into second. You see I took a lot of the curb, back on the power into turn number 15, and then once again now tightening up, staying on that dry line, and you will have that in the beginning of the qualifying, and the longer you try and qualify, the faster that line will go away, and across the line qualify on a 203.4. So now we can take a look at the setup and running. So I did use the Oschersleben setup. Tire pressures, I've dropped them down to a 1.3 bar, trying to get as much rubber on as possible, and just make sure you have the correct tires selected. In the practice I did have the wrong tires. In the brake balance, I've kept them at 54 to 46. I do like the way the car feels, especially on the brakes, which is what is needed. In terms of the suspension, the camber angle, I've dropped those as much as possible, trying to get as much rubber on the road. So I've gone to a -1 on the front, and on the rear I've gone to -0.8, and then I've kept the ride height 75 and 78. The toe in, I've reduced that down slightly just to a -1, and you'll see that I've got the anti-roll bar in the middle, and that is because when we get back into the dry, you'll see that we'll start getting a little bit more of that front end turning, which is what we want, but the car's a little bit softer for the wet. Then we'll move on to the dampers, and I have kept the car quite responsive. I want the front end to be able to turn in to create a bit of heat in the tires. So the slow bumps are 8,500, the slow rebound is 11,650. In the rears we've got the 7,000 and 8,850. Then going into the engine gearing, I've kept the engine braking at 10, and this is the shortest drive, which I think is definitely going to work better, because within the wet I just did not feel the longer ratio giving me the power out of the corners that I needed. While it will definitely save some of your engine down the line, you're just not going to be as fast as everybody else. Let me know what you think, get some of those lap times in, and I'll be really looking forward to hearing from you. Enjoy the race, yo's.